Hi, welcome back, everybody. All right, so I have I had a middle of the night inspiration last night, um, and there's a couple lines that I want to go through again on the in the translation, but I wanted to pause where we are, and I think it would be really useful if we took a pause and we went through the whole outline of the LAMRIM. Like, what are all the steps of the path? Because we've been focusing so much on just the meditation, the shamatha aspect, and we've been focusing on the vipassana, the insight aspect. And when I was reviewing all the material and like where we're going and what's to learn, like each of the steps in the LAMRIM take time to integrate. They take time to um, really settle in to our own practice, to our own way of thinking. And so I think we've reached a point that I think it's good to pause where we are and not go further until the next term, until we get started again, because I think it'll really help us to get clarity on what it is that we're denying, the object that we deny when we're talking about emptiness, when it comes to the upper middle way. What is the self that we're denying that we can then take into meditation to then hopefully maybe have an experience of, a degree of emptiness, as the lower middle way would put it, where we have it some kind of insight into how dependence works. How do things become things? Because really, you don't see emptiness directly without first having seen a seed open in your mind. You don't be like, oh my God, I need to see emptiness directly. No, what you need to see is chuchok, highest dharma, the highest existing object, the most powerful existing object in the universe. That's what they would say. And what is that object? Well, that object is seeing a seed open up for the first time, actually recognizing that you're not looking at a pen or not looking at a pot on the stove or not looking at you. You're just looking at a, a group of indicators, pieces, parts that are being put together by your mind. And then that mind then overlays the so perfectly that it becomes a functional object for you. It's perfect. It's so perfect. When you open your eyes and you look at a pen, you're looking, it's so perfect that it's a functional pen. Hopefully, it's a functional pen. It's a person. It's a car, right? It's a glass of water. It's not pus and blood, right? It's not deathless nectar. Well, maybe it is for you. I don't know. But you see, like, oh my God, I have to see emptiness directly. I'm so obsessed. Good. Be obsessed. But be obsessed with the right thing. Be obsessed with understanding how things become things. Like, and what a thing is and what a thing is not. Because if you could catch yourself in a moment of a seed opening up, and you see perfectly how something was not something until your seed made it that thing. Chuchok, highest dharma, dharma in the sense of existing thing. highest object, highest thing, supreme, ultimate. You can translate choke in many ways. My refuge name is Chokden, right? Chokden Pao, warrior of who possesses the highest thing, highest attainment, or highest object. Chokden, right? Pao Chokden. So that's what we want to go towards, right? We want to understand that. And so our understanding of emptiness and our understanding of the thing is empty of, that is the primary path, not the only seeds, but it is the primary way that you can start deconstructing. Because if you do that over and over and over again in your meditation, then eventually what will pop out is you'll see how something becomes something, how a chu becomes a chu, how a dharma becomes a dharma, like how an existing thing becomes an existing thing. You know, so I think for us to get accustomed to this idea, like there's different. Okay, let me go back a little bit. There's different ways to teach the LAMRIM too, right? And one of the ways of teaching the LAMRIM is that you teach a particular point. Dawa Maitri Dawa. Is that your name? Maitri, is that close? It's pretty close. Except I just mixed Sanskrit and Tibetan together. So anyway, um, but one of the ways to learn Lam Rim is you get taught a point, and then you meditate on it until you integrate it, until it's fully realized. Dawa Jampa, that might be it. I don't know. Like when you can learn a particular point. We're going to go through all of the points, but then you meditate on it. And then once you have the first one done, which could take a day, it could take a week, it could take a month, it could take a year, you don't move on to the next instruction until you get the first one. Um, we're not going to wait that long, but I don't know if I want to wait lifetimes for some of you. Just kidding. But I think this point where we are right now is a great place to pause and for you to spend that time in meditation and in your life to say, all right, look, I'm going to try to integrate this one point. And what is this one point? And we're trying to get to understand what is it that we're actually denying when we're saying, I'm going to deny the self. When we've been hitting this point over and over again. But what is that thing? Like the gotcha. What is the thing that's not there? And we went through many, many options. Right. And so I'm going to review the process. We did a meditation last week, and I'm going to go through it again briefly right now. We're going to go through two more lines of the text, and then I'm going to jump to the outline. Where are we going? I don't need to talk to you. Sorry. The the garbage company is calling me because they didn't want me to cancel. I canceled their services because they were rude. And so I went with a local company, and now they're trying to win my business back. Shut up. Just eat voicemail. Um, a rude trash company. That kind of goes together, right? I don't know. So the when we're looking at the self, right? There's two primary aspects. There's just the matakpa chepa. There's the normal self that, I got up, between classes. I walked out the hotel room. I walked to the beach, stood there, looked at the water, looked at the clouds, looked at the gray, said hi to somebody. I walked around just doing normal things. I wasn't really thinking about me, right? I was moving my body a little bit. Yeah, I was kind of me-ish. I like to call it the me-ish state, right? Of course, you're doing you. You're just doing you. You put your clothes on, you showered, maybe you shaved. Francisco, I'm liking the new beard. You know, I think if you went a little bit longer, you could do like the grandpa thing pretty well. Um, you know, you're just I just call it the me-ish state. You're just the normal me, more like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think. Um, and but you're not really thinking about me. Like you're looking around, you're walking, you're just thinking, you're just being a me-ish, right? And then something happens, like the garbage company calls you, right? While you're teaching about this. I'm like, thanks, guys. Right. And I'm like, stop calling me. Right. And I had some kind of emotional reaction to it. Right. So I had this ongoing action, the me, like a me ish moment, right? Just sort of ongoing. And then it was interrupted by something, which I go, I'm irritated. Stop calling me. Right. I don't want your business anymore. Right. Don't call me to like donate to your political campaign. Don't know why they keep calling me. I'm like, I don't support your party. I don't support your peoples. Hang up. Try again later. Right. Or like, you know, I used the example a couple of weeks ago, like of a bird, right? A bird pooping on you. You're just being, meandering down the road, and then a bird poops on your head, right? And then it drips down your face, right? It's ever happened to you, it's the most disgusting thing ever. You're just like, right? Some say it's good luck. I say it's a tantric deity who's trying to teach you to recognize the self you need to deny. Okay. Which one was it? Right? That's the question. Which one was it really? Is it a pen or a chew toy? Wait, your driver is there, but unfortunately was? You guys are idiots. Again, the trash people are stupid. They just texted me. They're like, we can't get your bin because you're at the wrong place. You have the wrong account. Anyway, so the point is that you have a moment where you become more me. You go from me-ish to me, right? I'm being me right now. I'm being irritated. I'm like, stop wasting my time, right? Like you're not at the right, obviously they're at the wrong place. Like, stop bothering me. Stop being stupid. Stop wasting my time. Me, right? You can also have this me moment when you're really happy too, of course, right? Something does something really nice. You win the lottery. You get a new job. You get fired from a job you didn't want anyway, right? Oh, my favorite one is I was about to leave a job and I got laid off the day before I left, before I was going to give my 2 weeks notice, and I got severance. I got 2 months of severance. I was going to quit the next day and only have 2 weeks of pay. They fired me, gave me 2 months of severance, and I didn't have to work those 2 weeks either. See, like, and then you feel happy and you're like, yeah, me, right? That's the me that we deny. That me, that feeling, that sense that comes up where me is offended, where me is like, thank you, waste management, for wasting my time because now I have to put the trash bin out again because you're an idiot. You went to the wrong address, right? Like, wasting my time. My time's being wasted. Why do I have to see that, Tim? And even if I do the whole emptiness thing, I wonder why I have to see that from my past karma. I'm still thinking about me, the me that's experiencing someone wasting my time, you know. But that's the me that we all have innately within us, right? Irritation is an easy one, right? Because it's a lot easier to recognize. But you can use any kind of pain or pleasure or good or bad thing, anything that interrupts your me-ish. Like, I'm meandering around. Oh, that's a great line. There's a one for you guys. Meandering around. Okay. Right. Meander means to just wander, like the just how about that? I'm meandering. Get it? Meandering around. Just having a me-ish moment. And then you have a me moment where it's like interruption. For those of you that speak Spanish or Romance languages, imperfect depreterate, the imperfect past. Mientras caminaba, me llamó la atención. Okay. The preterite, like the interruption, right? Something came to my mind, and that was me. Yay. Like, what comes to your mind is me, the offended me. Offense culture in the United States. Like, get offended by everything, right? We had a thing called the Me Too movement where people were being like, I'm experiencing those same things. Me too. Right. Specific to violence and harassment and abuse towards women. I experienced that as well. Me too. Right. And so, like, the God, like the emptiness me too moment is anytime you go me, right? And I'm over meing it. Sorry, interpreters. I'm overdoing it because we don't even recognize we're doing it, you know? And, but the idea is, can we interrupt? Can you acknowledge that it's happening? Can you see that it's happening? So, and that's the object we deny. That me is coming from, that's the me. That's the self. That the emptiness of that is the first emptiness that you see after you experience chuchuk. You see the emptiness of me, right? But most of the time, when we're meandering around, the innate sense of self is not clear. It's not obvious. It's not specific enough. Oh, I'm just walking around, you know. So, so I think that's a great place for us to pause. Like, just get out your book, and throughout the day, when you're doing your book practice, sure, you have your different commitments that you're sorting through, but think about it as me, the me who didn't take care of somebody else, the me who got close to breaking that vow, the me who was thinking about, like, only me, whatever it was, whatever it's related to. Like apply that to your book practice. Catch yourself becoming yourself. How about that? Because that's how we let ourselves go. But we have to know me, all the ways that me becomes me. And if and I personally, this is not scripture. Okay, this is my personal advices and practices for myself. Is that the more authentic you can be about who you are, the easier it is to deconstruct the me. You have to know who you are before you can deny who you are. And the more layers that you put on top of it, the harder it becomes. The more you're in the closet about who you are, the me closet, okay? I'm not talking about sexuality right now. I could be. But the more you're in the me closet, right? And you're not being your authentic self, which is your good, bad, and ugly. Like all the things that are like layered on top of that, then you can deny it. But if you can't, but all those layers are going to keep you meandering around. They will keep you from seeing who you truly are, which is not the person you thought you were in the first place. But you're still real. I'm not saying like you got to be careful. Like I'm not. It's not that you're not real. Of course you're real, right? But what are some of those things? Like what are some of the things that we're holding on to? Our natural reactions to things indicate some of those like protection mechanisms. You know, Buddhism's not in the business of navigating, for example, childhood trauma. Okay. Or just pattern behaviors, that you grew up with that became who you are from that point of view, from a psychology point of view. But what Buddhism psychology will tell us is all of those things are coming from seeds and they're being reinforced from seeds. And then recognizing all of those patterns to unwind them. Like your natural reaction to things is because, sure, we could call it childhood trauma. I'm trying to maintain safety. Like I developed this pattern when I was 5 years old because it was unsafe to like behave in a different way because I was five, right? I'm not saying that you were necessarily abused, but it's like you develop a pattern of understanding how the world was when you were five, and that pattern is carried through to 45 or 55, right? You get to see that and you get to dissolve it, right? Or maybe you didn't get the care that you needed as a child. Like you wanted your parents to love you in a different way or care for you or support you in a different way, right? And that all the things you're doing are actually trying to like replace the love that you didn't get from your mom. Just raising my hand. So I'm talking about Tim. I'm not talking about you. Right. But a lot of those behaviors don't serve anymore. Right. And I'm an adult. I could keep running around. For years, my relationships were, I was basically dating my mom, Freudian ways. Right. I was dating people that I were hoping would be my mom and give me the care that I didn't get from my mom the way I wanted it. My mom loved me. I know she does. She says it like she right, but not the way little Tim wanted it, right? So interrupting that pattern and then stopping that pattern because it doesn't serve me anymore. Sure, now I can get the love that I wanted from mom. I can give it to myself. I can find the support from others. I can ask for it. I can request. you know, it's not going to be fulfilled by going back, like, even no matter how much love my mom gives me now, like, it's like, it's not the same. It's not what the 5-year-old wanted, right? But that pattern still exists in your nervous system and your prana, right? So get to know that. Good, and work to dissolve it. How do you dissolve it? Well, there's different things you can do. First is get the seeds to make it work. Help other people with the love they didn't get when they were a child, right? Recognize that people are oftentimes reacting, their nervous system becomes a 5-year-old, or the nervous system becomes a 15-year-old. Like, I oftentimes, when people are upset, I'm like, okay, how old is this person right now? Not how was their biological age, but what age is coming out. They can't control it. It's a seed, right? When I learned that technique, I don't get upset anymore. I'm like, okay, now I'm recognizing that you're 5 years old. How do you handle a 5-year-old? If are you a parent? If you've ever been a parent, you know how to handle a 5-year-old, right? Give them two options, A or B. And then they think they're making a choice. Give them a hug. Be like, okay, do you want the lollipop or the pretzel? Right? They choose one and they go, good. And then, like, hey, come over, let me give you a hug. And then they regulate their nervous system. Cool. Learn to self-regulate. But you have to learn what's going on first. What age are you when you're having a reaction? What me is coming out? This is what I'm saying, guys. What me interrupts? And there's a lot of yous in there. It's not just one me, it's multiple me's. Different time periods, different reactions, different patterns. When you start seeing that, then you start understanding, well, which me am I denying? I can't find that me. Well, which me is having the reaction? The 5-year-old me? Well, 5-year-old me is ages ago. I'm not 5 anymore. I hope I'm not. But it sometimes act that way. Okay. What does 5-year-old me need? Okay. Be a bodhicitta to your 5-year-old self. Be a bodhisattva to your 5-year-old self. What does that 5-year-old need? A pretzel or a cookie? A hug or validation, right? I react certain ways. That happened to me yesterday, where I was like, I am so go ram misunderstood right now. No one asked me any questions. No one asked me my perspective. And then I was like, and as I was having the reaction, I'm like, oh, I know you. I know you. You're 4 years old. You're 8 years old. You're 10 years old. You're 20. And then just like, and do the whole list of things, right? But like, I know you. And I'm like, okay, should I engage it or be like, okay, you're misunderstood? How do you get understood? I say, look, I'm experiencing that I was misunderstood and I'm being wrongly accused of something. And this is much more subtle than that, you know. And in that process, then I get to say what it was. So instead of going off and then going and crying and feeling misunderstood and hiding under the covers and being like, no one loves me, no one cares about me. This is old Tim, right? This is what I used to do. I'm just going to be by myself, right? I chose a different path. I interrupted it. I can notice that I'm that person who's not even there. That's the funny part. 5-year-old Tim is not even there anymore. But 47, 46, whatever I am, I don't know. Depends on the moon, I guess, something like that. That person can be like, wow, okay, what's the way to handle this? How to regulate, right? And then to think, well, shit, that's me, interrupted me, me interrupted. Isn't there a movie called that? Me interrupted? Something like that? Girl interrupted. No. What's it called? Yeah, Girl Interrupted. I'm sorry. Winona Ryder and Angelina Jolie. Okay. It's me interrupted. And then I can say to myself, look, you are just holding on to a me that's not even there. 5-year-old me is not even there. You're hopefully you're somewhat of an adult today. Act like it, but take care of the me that's coming up. And today it's 5-year-old. Okay. What do you need? A cookie? No, what you need is to feel understood and validated. All right, buddy. Gotcha. And then understand that the people that are accusing you are also having an experience too. See, so, and then you can say, well, that me, where's that me coming from? Well, maybe I assume too much about other people. Maybe I wrongly accuse people of things. Yeah. Then stop doing those kind of things, and that me will eventually stop. Right. If I want to be understood, I have to understand others karmically. So that a me shows up that goes, oh, even if I mean, because someone could say something to me and it's not true, and I could be like, yeah, that's not true. Let's deal with this versus having a total 5-year-old meltdown on the inside. Nobody loves me. No one cares about me. No one thinks about Tim's point of view. No, what's your flavor of whining that happens inside when me interrupted shows up? I'm just giving you Tim's version of it's so lonely in here. Nobody understands me. I try so hard to take care of others, and all they do is criticize me. I've always been misunderstood my whole life. Right? Like tired of it. Right? No, but like it lasted for like 5 seconds, and then I was thinking, okay, that's not true. Like, what's the way? And I said to my teacher, I said, this isn't true. I said, but what's the way to move forward right now? Right? How do we move forward? You know, and that's like what's going to plant the best seeds moving forward. Help other people understand each other, like understand other people's points of view. That's all. Karmically, make them feel seen, help them feel loved and cared for the way that a 5-year-old needs. And then that me no longer has power as me. It's just a fleeting thing that flies through. And each time you purify that more and more, you get closer and closer to seeing the seed open up as you, because that's what we really want. And along the way, it just makes it a lot easier, frankly. It makes your life so much better. Then you don't whine at yourself with yourself as much. I mean, I'm not sure what your internal world's like. I'm just giving you a window into my own particular neuroses and idiosyncrasies. But anytime you me yourself, me interrupt, like interrupt the meandering to feel the me who wasn't there anyway from its own side. Yes, you are experiencing you. It's true. You are experiencing yourself as the offended me. It's true. But why are you experiencing that? And how do you experience a different you? And what you do you really want to experience? I think that's the most important question. What you do you want to come out? And then we plant the seeds for that. But the you that's coming out, like, that's the all of that, what I just said is the deep inner relationship between wisdom and compassion. And if you can see what those things are, like having that ultimate compassion for you, right, is having compassion for others. Most people, when they're upset, are they're having a me interrupted moment too. If you know yours, you can recognize it in others, and then you can help them. The quickest way to diffuse that is let it burn out without being reactive to it. What do they need? With a 5-year-old, it's easy. Like, help the 5-year-old regulate, right? Give them the hug, ask them what they need, ask them to express their emotion, be the support for them, be the stable ground for them. When they have something shitty happen and they melt down because, I don't know, the 4-year-old melted down last week because it started raining outside. And they wanted the sun. Like, well, buddy, can't control the weather. Why don't you tell me how you feel? What would make you feel safe? The sun. Well, the sun's not coming out, buddy. Like, but what are you upset about? And it turned out just to be like they didn't like the color of the sky. Okay, well, let's make some colors over here. Let's you want to get your crayons out? We'll color a sky. How about give them a hug and they think you're okay. They need to feel safe. It doesn't has nothing to do with the color of the sky, right? And then provide that safety to other people. That's all. Adults need safety. All right, enough of my pontifications. Let's move on. Let's get these 2 lines in, and then we'll move into. We actually did this line already, but I want to do it again. Someone who hasn't read in a long time. Let's see here. I'm going to go to the end of the list. Lots of you hide. Hien, would you like to read? I know you don't want to read, but I would love you to read.
Dạ, em xin phép đọc ạ. Ờ, Chắc bê ờ, đắng bê chắc chú ờ, chí lá
Good job.
chắc lá ờ, lô lô cha chắc ra mô chích khí nén khí
Mm-hmm.
khí nén chú lá chắc ngô
Talk good.
chắc ngô.
Good job. Nice, nice, nice. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So I love this word chuk. When we interfere, okay, interrupt, get involved with, okay, the arising of the appearance, right? When things appear and we interfere or we get involved with that arising, okay, that's the gotcha. Okay. That moment when something appears and we go, oh, dang, I'm getting involved with that chuk, right? It's not just about having an emotional moment. This is where we can use our practice as the path, use suffering as a path. I mean, that's what I'd say. Like use your world as the path to purify your world. Okay, you're irritated at the garbage company. Great. Another opportunity to look at me. Let's get involved with that irritation. Oh, I'm feeling unsafe right now, or I'm feeling misunderstood. Great. Let's use that as a path to plant good seeds and interrupt it. All right, what happens next? So then that interruption, we must examine the way it appears, the way the self appears innately. And this is, and that analysis, that duck, is a subtle part of the mind. It's a more subtle aspect of our mind that we have available to us that we oftentimes ignore. And we can strengthen it through exercise. And that exercise is just this is why I'm pausing right here. Our exercise, your gym time, your gym membership is involved right now. Like, Sarah, when you go to the gym, right? And something you want to do doesn't work out, and your body's like, man, this isn't doing it, right? Interrupt that. Like, or someone behaves improperly, or, whatever it is you don't like about the gym, right? All of you go to the gym of your own mind and exercise that muscle of when you have a moment that goes, me, you can start singing to yourself, like break out into song. Oh, that's me. Like, if you like musicals, just break out into song and dance. I'm having another moment of me. Dun, 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 right? Something. I want to hear how the interpreters sang that song, right? Sing a song to yourself, interrupt, right? And then you start developing that subtle awareness, which is kind of like Session in meditation, catching yourself to bring yourself back to the object, right? Oh, this is just a distraction. This is just me being me. Let's do an analysis of this. Analytical meditation. Okay. All right. Next line. Here we go. And we're going to have, who's going to read? How about Natalia? Are you in St. Petersburg right now?
Hello, teacher. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in St. Petersburg now.
Good. I'm meeting with Nick today. He's up the street. He's 2 minutes. He's like 15 minutes away from me. I'm getting the information I need so you can go get my book out of the library. So,
Really?
yeah, I'm meeting with him this
Oh,
afternoon.
oh, great.
She's going to use her magic powers and woo the librarian at the St. Petersburg Library to get the copy of the book I'm translating, the only copy that exists in the world that we so far know that's on the actual wood block carving, so we can get a better sense of the language. So that's what she's going to do for us. Anyway, let's read.
Oh, Shang Tzu Tag Pa Lo Shu Chena Tsin Tan Kiu Nar Cha Tsin Na Ton Pa Roba Mi Sal Cha Kyur
Sawar, misawar.
Misawa Kyur Cha Tam Kapo Tangpa Na Che.
Nietzsche.
Nie,
Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
All right, here we go. Nice reading.
Thank you.
So if na greatly powerful shukche, by being greatly powerful, what? The mind. If the mind, which is examining the way the self appears. So if the part of our mind which is examining this is too intense, so here's the opposite advice. Okay. If it appears to be too intense, like if you're trying to examine me too hard, right? Too powerfully, all right? What will happen? So either that mind will become, things will either become less clear, like that me will become too, it won't be as rich, it won't be as bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, or it'll just disappear entirely. It'll go to, it literally means to go to emptiness, right? It'll disappear entirely, right? If you hold on to that self too tightly, part of you that's holding on, okay? So it's kind of like a meditation skill. Like if you put too much energy onto the object, what happens? You bounce off of it. Like if you focus too hard, you put too much intensity, then your mind can't hold it, and then it bounces off. It's the same thing, and it's basically a meditation. This is a meditation instructions. We already got the meditation instructions in the last chapter, but we're being taught how to meditate on the object we need to deny. He doesn't say meditate here, but he's implying it. And so what happens is that we need to have methods, very wise. We need to have very wise methods. We need to have great skills when we do such analysis. Okay. And Nietzsche means important. So it's very important to analyze, to study this with mastery, right? And this is just an idea of like through meditation. That's all. Like if you do what I said too much, then it becomes an affliction itself. So you need to find that balance between what two things? Dullness and agitation. Lack of clarity can be either dullness or it can be agitation. If you try too much, it bounces off. If you try too little, it's too dreamy. It's not clear enough. So we need to find the me in between all of those things. Just hold on to it enough that you can analyze it, but not too much where you lose it, or where it's too little where you're not having clarity on it. Okay. So that's your homework over the next what it's going to be. Take your time, like meander around. And then when you catch yourself having me moments, and then interrupt it to be like, oh, I'm having a me moment. What does me need? Right? One thing, there's like, I'm giving you conventional methods and I'm also giving you ultimate methods. Conventionally, what does me need? Maybe it needs a hug, right? That's not going to stop that me from arising. But the other thing that will happen is then how will you then start recognizing if that me keeps arising, then you can see the pattern of seeds that are arising and plant different seeds for future you. so that me doesn't show up anymore. And then a different you shows up. Then you gotta deconstruct that mode. And that's it's a whole thing. It's a practice. Okay. I babbled a long time. We have 10 minutes left. I want to start a brief outline of the LAMRIM. So, because I was studying it, yes, a couple of days ago. I was doing the homework for the Song of My Spiritual Life classes in July, 2 months late. I'm sorry, but I finished it, and I was doing some research on Atisha and his story. And so I was reading the LAMRIM, and I'm super excited that when we get there, because once we get through this emptiness chapter, it's story time. We get to just read stories, for a long, long time in the LAMRIM, which makes it easier to translate and learn to translate. Right. But the thing is, when we have the skills of understanding insight using meditation and apply it to all the other steps, then we can quickly move through those steps and have the realizations we need. Okay, here we go. So the outline of this LAMRIM talks about, the first thing we talk about is the originator. So if you want to start writing this down, go ahead. We'll go through it later, but who originated the LAMRIM? How did this become itself? How did it become something in the Dharma that we should listen to? And it goes through Lord Atisha's life, because Atisha had basically his major contribution was that he brought two lineages together into one stream of teachings, like one river. And he merged two together. He merged the lineage of Nagarjuna, Arya Nagarjuna, who taught primarily, not exclusively, but taught primarily on the profound, on emptiness. So Arya Nagarjuna, was an innovator of the teachings of emptiness. He took the Buddhist teaching and then created a presentation of it, and innovated a presentation that made it easier to understand, clearer to understand. Then we had another great innovator, Arya Sangha, who primarily, again, his contribution was focusing on the bodhisattva activities, the widespread activities. Okay. Now, those two individuals, who happen to also be individuals who saw emptiness directly, right? And there's a deep relationship between being an Arya and an innovator of presentations. And the two of them, those two lineages, were combined by Atisha. Atisha studied both of them and then innovated the LAMRIM presentation, where he took both and merged them together into a single presentation. Now, what it doesn't say is, it doesn't mean that Arya Nagarjuna didn't talk about bodhisattva activities. It doesn't mean that Arya Sangha didn't talk about emptiness. I mean, that would be silly to say those things. But both of them, they had their primary focuses, and then Atisha brought them together. And so the beginning of the LAMRIM starts by discussing this, how did this teaching become the teaching? Which is the way we start every ACI class. Who are the authors? Who are the books? What are the books? Here's the list of all the things that we're drawing this information from. So we do that again in the LAMRIM. What was the progenitor of this genre of teaching? And what I love about it, if you guys haven't noticed what I love about it, is that it's like little tiny ideas that you can expand into practices. It's not like, how do I say this? it can be intellectual, but it can also just be here's a little 1 minute Instagram video called LAMRIM. And let me give you a little nugget of something that you can practice. And that's what the 5 houses is going to be doing. And that's what staircase house is going to be. Learn the material, but it's going to be, let's create nuggets of wisdom. So when Sarah goes to the gym, she can teach somebody LAMRIM in 1 minute, right? While, like you could sneak it in with your clients, right? Your clients are probably not going to be like, you start rattling off gotchas and shit like that, and they're going to be like, what? Like they're not going to, like, that's too much for people. But you might be able to say, something about, no, you're having a moment. Like, it looks like you're having a me moment. Like, what's going on? Right. And then what me they're having. You understand that and you can help them soften it up. Right. And that's what I love about LAMRIM is that all of these things can turn into micro teachings. It's like I don't know, it's like the Instagram reel house, the TikTok house, something like that. Okay. All right. Now that we've gone through all of the, like, who wrote this, like who brought it together, and Atisha basically Nagas, Mendoza. That's a great idea. Nagas. Oh my God, we're totally doing this in October. You just made October even better. Thanks, Brian. Nice. Okay. Um, Atisha then took these ideas, and he went to Tibet. Like first of all, he traveled the world, to get teachings. He went through India, he went to Indonesia, which is a great thing of like you go where the teacher is. Metaphorically, the teacher can be on Zoom. You don't have to go running to Del Mar, San Diego to come to class, you know. But he went searching for teachings. Like he prioritized finding the teachings. So maybe you don't have to go anywhere. You just go to Zoom, right? But then he then took them and he took them back to Tibet where the teachings were not so clear, where they were degenerating. The understandings of emptiness and bodhisattva activities were not so, together. And he went back and took those teachings and he brought the LAMRIM to the Tibetans and made it clearer for them. Right. And that's part of our job. And like so LAMRIM story, then when it's story time, right? It's like, well, why did they tell us these stories? Like that's what you should always be thinking in LAMRIM. Why did they tell me this story? Like maybe he recognized that the people in Tibet at the time couldn't take Nagarjuna's emptiness teachings or couldn't take Asanga's bodhisattva teachings. It was too intense at the time, or the audience needed something different, or they needed something clearer, and that's the teaching. The teaching here is you learn all the stuffs and then you pull them out of your toolbox. Like when the time is right and the way is right for the person, you do a tabke. You use skillful means. Go learn all the things, suffer while you're learning, spend all your money. No, I'm not saying don't do that. What I'm saying is go to classes, but take the time. Like if it's a priority, you'll prioritize that over your Friday night drinking activities, which you probably aren't doing anymore anyway. But right, getting up on early mornings to run classes, like you prioritize that over other activities. Other parents think you're weird, right? You don't do the same things everyone else does. Okay, fine. Get your toolbox in place. Go to the places, go where the teachers are. Zoom is okay. You don't have to travel around the world, although travel's nice. And then get that toolbox and become a master of all the tools. so that you can help people. That's all. And then the next step, and I'll just leave it here and we'll just pick it up on Thursday, is that what makes the Dharma teachings great? Like, here are all the reasons that make it great. So then we do a sales pitch. Like, why is this great? Why is this the best thing since sliced bread? I hate sliced bread. Like, I like ripping the baguette myself. Thank you very much. But what I'm saying is, like, why do we study it? And then there's motivations for that. Right. And we'll go into some of those motivations and we'll keep going through this on Thursday. So I just want to go through, I want you all to know what we're going to be studying, because you might have a me moment in it. All right. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Welcome to Monday morning. I hope you have a great afternoon or evening, and I'll see you all on Thursday. So say goodbye to each other, and don't forget about me. I mean, you. I will see you Thursday. Say goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful
Thank
day,
you.
everybody.
It was beautiful.
Thank you so much for teaching.
Бачення. Дякую.
Muchas
Goodbye,
gracias.
everyone.
Gracias a todos.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Ciao.